be seated. Catholics in the house. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 2025 State of the City Address. My name is Morgan Peters. I'm the CEO of the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce. Special thank you to our piper for this evening, Mr. Andy Rogers. I want to, of course, start by acknowledging that this event is taking place on traditional Wolastoqey territory. The territory of the Wolastoqey people is recognized in the peace and friendship treaties to establish an ongoing relationship of peace, friendship, and mutual respect between equal nations. The river that runs through our city is known as the Wolastoq, along which live the Wolastoqey, the people of the beautiful and bountiful river. One housekeeping item before we get going. You'll notice at the back of the room we have Rogers TV recording this evening's event for a future air date. So as a personal favor to me, if we can keep the volume low during speeches from the podium and remain seated, so that looks great on TV. I look great either way, but please. At the risk of understating, since the last time we gathered for this event in June 2024, there have been some rather big things happen globally, federally, and provincially, but we feel and experience those things locally. That's one of the big reasons that this is such an important event on the Chamber's calendar, maybe this year more than ever. Not only is it a chance to hear from Mayor Rogers, but it's also a chance to connect with each other face-to-face, person-to-person. In an age when many important conversations happen online, where it is far too easy to forget that we're all members of the same community that have a vested interest not only in Fredericton, but in each other. So I thank everyone for being here tonight, for your engagement and commitment to the community. That's very much appreciated on our end. I'm going to stop it there and then would invite Sockham Alan Polches to the podium to bring greetings. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Nitali was Sockham Alan Polches, New Jayawa Sedances. My name is Chief Alan Polches. I have the honor of serving as Chief of St. Mary's First Nation on the other side of this beautiful river, the Wolastoq, on the north side. Right? Well, to Mayor Kate and the council for, of course, hosting us this evening, and thank you all for being here tonight. As we gather at the end of our business day, and of course a Thursday, we come together to, of course, listen to the journey of the mayor and the council on what, of course, our city has to offer, of course, for 2026. We gather on unceded, unsurrendered Wolastoqey territory, and I'm honored to be here tonight. On behalf of my council and the citizens of Sedances, we want to say thank you for always collaborating, being inclusive, but more importantly, understanding and respecting the peace and friendship treaties that, of course, we are all treaty people. I just want to, of course, acknowledge the mayor and her team at City Hall for always bringing and understanding reconciliation. Reconciliation is where we are at in terms of what we are doing in government, what are we doing personally, and of course, what are we doing with our communities. Working together for the last few years under the leadership of the mayor, I want to acknowledge again her and her team for some of the big items that we've accomplished. Yes, the city of Fredericton and Sedances can accomplish things when you're at the table. You don't do without us at the table. And we want to thank the city for that. We were able to accomplish, of course, the new sanitary infrastructure that was happening at the old reserve over the north side. That was a long overdue file. So of course we were able to come together to complete that project for the north siders. Of course, we have a new policing agreement with the Fredericton City Police. I see the Chief of Police, Gary Forward, is here. I want to thank you for your leadership and all the work that you are doing. I know you're over there somewhere. And we just announced we just have a new office that's opened up in our community, and the police officers there. So, you know, making that connection, make it for a safer city, of course, because that is a hot item in our city. But we are coming together as a community to ensure that safety is a priority for all of our citizens here in Fredericton. Also want to, of course, just talk about the committed to the economic development. I can't say it now, but maybe next year I'll be able to unveil a big project that we are doing on the north side. I can guarantee you it's going to be lovely, it's going to be fabulous, and it's going to be something that the city's been waiting for. So with that, congratulations, Gulli Kazat, to Mayor Kate. Give her a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. We look forward to your presentation. Keep up the good work, and to all of you here tonight, please take care of your spirit. Do well and know that you do a good job every single day when you get up to go to work and work for the citizens of Fredericton. With that, we'll even have a lovely evening.
Thank you, Sakopolchis. Hello, everyone. My name is Dave Lawrence from New Country 92.3, and I'll be your MC this evening. No, I'll wait for the ovation to die down. It was in the notes. Expected to take 3 to 4 minutes. We're going to have an awesome time. We're going to have a great night. David Miles and I are going to have a rap battle later. Morgan's going to referee it. It's going to be so cool. We're going to have a really good time. But now, this is not some sort of cruel joke. We are going to bring up a very talented person to do O Canada, so I'm going to need you to please rise for O Canada as we now invite Jenny Paul to the stage to sing O Canada.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command, will lead a hearts walking. Kno mi dunen, ali speak we Lotta gwasen walking, naga kwadu gate, de plus brillant espoir, et ta valeur. Deux fois trompé, protégera nos foyers et nos droits. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for
Thank you, Jenny Paul. That was absolutely lovely. You may now be seated, and I will not ask you to get up again for at least 40 to 45 minutes. I don't know why the next time would be, but you're good now. Thank you for being here. Welcome back to the program. And somehow this is already the 5th State of the City address for Mayor Kate. Let's hear a big round of applause. 5th? You're like the Saturday Night Live 5-timers club. You get like a jacket and the whole thing. Okay. I know we are looking forward to learning about the update and vision that she and council, along with their team of city employees, have put in place. We have many members of the City Council and senior staff in attendance, and we thank each of them for attending, along with other dignitaries with us tonight. And I'm going to introduce them in just a second, but I want to talk about how glad I am to be here. With my lovely, beautiful wife here now, too. Just join us. We have 3 kids at home, 14, 10, 9, and a new puppy. And we just are so happy to be here tonight. It is just so awesome. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I'm not joking. These are texts I've gotten since I got here from my oldest son, who's 14. I'm home now watching the guys. Ellie, that's our new puppy, has chewed and completely destroyed the universal remote in the living room. Noah, who's our special needs guy, who's 10, so Ellie has chewed the remote. Noah has tried to bite Ellie. Then the next one is, how expensive is your printer? Out of nowhere. How expensive is your printer? Then the next one, I think, might be to his girlfriend or one of his friends. He said it to me by mistake. It says, I think they get home around 10 o'clock. He's a great kid, but I might be back in about 20 minutes. Once we get started, I might have to just zip home and bust this thing up. So, great kids. Several things have been bitten, apparently, and I need to buy a new remote tomorrow when I get off the air. So there's a lot to look forward to. So if we could just pull an all-nighter, that'd be awesome. That'd be so cool. I don't know what we're going home to. We love having a night out. But anyways, here we go. It is my pleasure to introduce today's head table guests. Please hold your applause until all the head table guests have been introduced. Now, I'm pretty confident I know most of you, and I'm going to nail most of these names, but I purposely didn't go and check ahead of time, so if I mess up somebody's name, I want you to raise your hand, and for every name I mess up, I will donate $10 to the SPCA. Is that fair? But you got to tell the truth, too. A little bit, okay, because I got to apparently buy a new universal remote tomorrow, and those are like $100. All right. Her Worship, Mayor Kate Rogers. Husband of Mayor Rogers and First Gentleman of Fredericton, Mike Wolf. Mother-in-law of Mayor Rogers, Jackie Wolf. Mother of Mayor Rogers, Elizabeth Rogers. Piper and brother of Mayor Rogers, Andy Rogers. Daughter of Mayor Rogers, Eliza Wolf. Eliza, got it. Whew. Significant other of Eliza Wolf, Benjamin DeLong. Daughter of Mayor Rogers, Iris Wolf. Chief of St. Mary's First Nation, Sogum Allen Polches Jr. Director of Operations, Chief and Counsel, St. Mary's First Nation, Sarah Rose. President of the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce and the owner-operator of Focal Point Landscape Design and Installation, Dave Milburn. Our platinum sponsor, John Blackmore, head of Hotspot, and Morgan Peters, CEO of the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce. Ladies and gentlemen, our head table guests. I'm not done with the $10 thing. Okay, here we go. I would also like to recognize that we have several other distinguished guests in attendance today. David Miles, Member of Parliament for Fredericton Oromocto. Okay. The Honorable Cindy Miles, Minister of Social Development and Minister responsible for the Economic and Social Inclusion Corporation. David Kuhn, MLA for Fredericton Lincoln. My man DC in the house. Deputy Mayor Jocelyn Pike, Ward 4. Councillor Margot Shepherd, Ward 1. Councillor Bruce Grandy, Ward 3. Councillor Stephen Hicks, Ward 5. Councillor Eric McGarity, got it? McGarity? Ward 6. Councillor Kevin Dara, Ward 7. I haven't seen Kevin yet. Councillor Gregory Erickson, Ward 8. Councillor Ruth Breen, Ward 9. Councillor Cassandra LeBlanc, Ward 10. Love Cassandra. Councillor Jason Lejeune, Ward 11. Past Mayor J.W. Bud Bird in the house. Mayor David Duplessis of Central York, Vice Chair of CRSC Board. Keep it going. And from the Village of New Maryland, Councillor Alex Schulten. There we go, everybody. There are a few more special guests to be recognized later in the program, but in the meantime, if we've inadvertently missed anyone, please accept our sincerest apologies and let me know how much money I owe. On behalf of the Chamber, I wish to acknowledge the support of several Chamber members who are sponsors of tonight's event. Many of these people are here with us, and I wish to express thanks for their continued engagement with our Chamber and our community. Our platinum sponsor, Hotspot. Let's hear it for him. Let's do a round of applause for everybody. Our gold sponsors, Encore and J. Donovan Law Group. Thank you so much. Our silver sponsors, Fredericton International Airport, Goguen Architecture, and Ignite. Probably mess up. Our bronze sponsors, Kobe Basics, Downtown Fredericton Inc., and Liberty Utilities. Design sponsor, Kears Marketing. There we go, keep it going. And photography sponsor, AAA Photography, sitting right over there next to me, and my lovely wife. A round of applause for all our sponsors. It doesn't happen without them. Thank you guys so much. All right. Time now for my follow-up to a couple of more texts I've received from my 14-year-old son. Do you know where my hoodie is? 7:18, do you know where my hoodie is? 7:23, never mind, I found it. 7:22, can I have $10? 7:23, actually make it 20. And the last one I just got at 7:27. If I put my laundry in the machine, does it automatically do the thing? A lot to cover with that kid, but he's a good egg. He's a good egg. All right. All right, well, hello again. I hope you're enjoying your great meal prepared by the staff of the Fredericton Convention Centre. Thank you again. It's my pleasure at this time to call upon the one and only Jennifer Donovan, representing our gold sponsor, J. Donovan Law Group, to say a few words on behalf of the firm. Let's hear it for Jennifer Donovan.
Hello, everybody. Good evening to the distinguished guests in this room tonight, including but not limited to Mayor Kate Rogers and the fine ladies and gentlemen seated at the head table. I see my friend Chief Polchis and several MLAs. I also want to welcome everybody else. Welcome. It's a privilege to be here speaking to all of you tonight. I am Jennifer Donovan of J. Donovan Law Group. I moved to Fredericton in 2001 to go to law school at UMB. At just 21 years of age, Fredericton felt like an enormous city to me. I am from Miramichi, specifically from along Route 118 highway, where when we went trick-or-treating, we had to drive from house to house. Very different from my children who get to enjoy walking through our close-knit community in Garden Place. I knew at the time that I started law school, living in this city had a lot to offer. When I graduated, I did not know if I was going to live here, but it didn't take long before I knew I wanted to settle and practice here. When I think back over my 24 years living in Fredericton, I can't help but think about key individuals who helped shape my start and inspire me to give Fredericton all it had to offer. The first individual would be my former boss, the late Robert Kenny, QC. Bob, as I called him, and I know many of you in this room probably know who Bob was as well. I remember distinctly Bob's advice. Jen, I know to you, this city is big, but it's small at heart. Everybody knows everybody, and there's a lot of good people who live here. I hope you get to enjoy most of those people. The next very important person would be the Honorable Madam Justice Barbara Baird, Justice of the Court of Appeal of New Brunswick. I worked with Madam Justice during my summers in law school, and she has been instrumental in opening my eyes to the beauty of Fredericton. She would talk to me about the walking trails, the special interest clubs, and the importance of a thriving downtown business district. At 24 years of age, a thriving downtown business district was not on my radar, but I knew that if she thought it was important, it definitely was important. 24 years later, I've been blessed to have a very successful law practice that I started in Fredericton, that I've been able to expand to 3 other areas in the province: Miramichi, St. John, and St. Andrews. I've settled here with my husband, Mike, and my 3 little boys who go to school here, live in a safe neighborhood, and can enjoy the walking trails and all the parks, including Officer Square. I've seen a lot of changes that Fredericton has gone through in those years. Most of them have been fantastic. Events like this one help us to elevate Fredericton, elevate the experiences, elevate the services, elevate the amenities, elevate the discussions about how to make Fredericton the absolute best that it can be. I value being a part of such discussions, and I believe that everyone in this room tonight does as well. To Mayor Rogers and her team, and to all the groups that help support the causes, the missions, and the objectives, thank you for your efforts. Thank you for your dedication. Thank you for the tireless hours that I'm sure go in to the role of the mayor's office. I look forward to the future with optimism and excitement. I'm very eager to see the new Justice Building and the Performing Arts Center, just to name a couple. I'm still a proud Miramichier, but I'm also a proud Frederictonian. Let's continue to elevate our city.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Encore, and your team for the AV this evening. And I'm going to be back after dessert. We're going to have some dessert, more mingling. I'm assuming coffee is going to be involved. My wife's excited about that. Quick, funny story. On Saturday, I had the pleasure of doing a live broadcast at the Capitol Exhibit Center for the Pages in the Province book fair through Dog-Eared Books and stuff like that. And I told this story on the air. I went to the bathroom at one point, and next door in like the other area, they were doing like a ski rental place for that day. And I go into the bathroom, and I'm washing my hands, and a guy comes in with a giant canister of coffee, puts it on the floor, and we're just small talk, how you doing, blah, blah. And it was like 80% full, and he goes, you want a coffee? And I went, yeah. And he goes, you got a cup? And I was like, not in the bathroom. And he goes, I'll go get you a cup. And then I awkwardly stood there in the bathroom with this giant thing of coffee. And he came back, and he just left it on the floor and poured it, and I got a coffee. So I'm infinitely confident that this coffee will be way better than the bathroom coffee I had on Saturday. That's my point I'm trying to make. Don't accept free coffee from strangers. Certainly not in the bathroom, so I'm excited for this coffee tonight. Now, as we head into the main event of this evening, let's have a look back on what City Council has accomplished since 2021. Here we go.
Since 2021, Fredericton City Council has been working hard to meet the demands of our rapidly growing city. We've embraced change and growth with bold decisions to build an affordable and vibrant community for everyone. We're tackling the housing crisis by supporting the construction of places people can afford to live and upgrading infrastructure while managing record development. Now it's easier than ever to catch a bus and get around Fredericton every day of the week. With more routes, half-hour service, and on-demand rides, transportation is affordable and accessible for everyone. We're building community by revitalizing Officers Square, offering free programming and free recreation, and by investing in community spaces. Growth can bring challenges. That's why we're advocating for more doctors and improved healthcare options for our residents. We're also making community safety a priority. We're investing in prevention and enforcement, and we're supporting solutions that tackle the root causes of crime. Together with our community, Fredericton City Council is embracing growth and transformation, building a city where everyone can lead their best lives now and into the future.
I would like to now introduce our platinum sponsor, John Blackmore, head of Hotspot, to come up to the stage and speak and to introduce the guest of honor. Let's hear it for John Blackmore.
Thank you, Dave. It's a pleasure to be back at this fantastic event. If I had known I could have just done a video, I probably would have done that. I love Fredericton. I grew up here. It's one of the few places left where you can meet someone in line at a coffee shop and you realize that you both know the same 10 people. It's like LinkedIn, but less cringy. Now, my discomfort with self-promotion probably reflects more about me than the LinkedIn posts that make me uncomfortable, but we'll leave that insight to my therapist. I would say about half of the people in this room, though, would agree that self-promotion feels a bit weird. And the other half are crazy people. Sorry, business owners. What we all can agree on, though, I think, is that it feels fantastic to hear praise from a different source. And so I'd like to take this moment to maybe review what I think a LinkedIn post for the city of Fredericton would be. So firstly, we have a fantastic, dedicated mayor. At last year's address, she mentioned during her speech that she was happy to hear from the public, even if she was out grocery shopping. And wouldn't you know it, I ran into her at Sobeys downtown 2 weeks later. And we said our friendly hellos and that type of thing. And then I switched into the business, and I've been meaning to talk to you about. And the transition from shopping Kate to Mayor Kate was instantaneous. She was ready to hash out whatever we had to do in the coffee aisle at Sobeys. So really appreciate that level of engagement from Kate. Second, we're very fortunate, we saw the video, to have a thriving business community that's led by the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce and supported by a history of passionate, forward-thinking council members, of which many are here tonight. But what truly sets us apart is, I think, was also shown in that video, it's just the community options, the chances for us to connect with each other. I think that's so fantastic. It's so easy to take that for granted, but we all have to remember there was a time before the night market existed, right? Those were dark times. And finally, we have a city that actively promotes innovation through programs like Boost Fredericton, which encourages job growth. I see Lori back there clapping. Was not paid by her, but as some of you might know, Hotspot is actually a success story of Boost Fredericton. But a decade and a half ago, Hotspot was selected, and that led to funding that led to a legitimate business being formed. That business was eventually acquired by Arcadis, which is a leading global design, engineering, and management consulting firm, of which I work now. And since we've expanded to major cities all across Canada and the US, and we have a local headcount of approximately 50 people, and we'll continue to grow that. And that's 50 extra Fredericton stories that we have now because the city is looking forward to investing in those things. And I think that's very important to not take for granted, so to speak. And I actually just saw on LinkedIn, funny enough, last year's winners, which I helped coach along with other people here. They just launched their app, Hungy. It's a food security app. I think it's really good work. And just, again, fantastic things that are happening because the city of Fredericton has that vision, has that forward thinking, and it's a source of pride, shall we say. So all that to say is we at Hotspot, we're grateful for the support, the opportunities that we've gotten from the city of Fredericton. We value the feedback from users, of which all of you were guinea pigs at one point, because this is where Hotspot started, so we appreciate that feedback. And I think I was parking today in the parking garage, and I was like, this is pretty smooth, actually, so we're getting there. And I would like to extend a special thank you to the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce for always welcoming us back each year. It's a pleasure to do this. And now I will begin to introduce the person we're all really here to see. Kate Rogers has dedicated her career to building community through leadership roles in the nonprofit and charitable sector, in arts and cultural development, and in policy research and creation. With a master's degree in political science, Rogers is committed to good governance, public engagement, and informed decision-making. She was the director of the NB Social Policy Research Network and an executive director of the New Brunswick Crafts Council, the Charlotte Street Art Center, and the Fredericton Community Foundation. This is Rogers' third term on the Fredericton City Council. She was elected in May 2012 and again in May 2016, and she served as deputy mayor for a 2-year term. And in May 2021, Kate Rogers was elected as the mayor of Fredericton. Rogers is the first woman to serve in that role. We can clap for that, yeah. And she makes it look easy. Under Mayor Rogers' leadership, Fredericton City Council introduced Sunday public transit, which you saw in the video, a revitalized Officer Square, which I think we're all enjoying, realized new performing arts center, launched the affordable housing strategy, strengthened relations with Indigenous peoples, established an Office of Community Inclusion, increased public safety investments, introduced the Community Safety Services Unit, and improved communication with residents. Rogers is committed to an affordable, healthy, vibrant city being realized through Fredericton with free recreation and leisure programming, enhanced parks and trails, and record residential development. Throughout her life, Mayor Rogers has been an active volunteer and board member. She's been involved in various organizations, but is particularly proud of her work as a former president of her local credit union and founding co-chair of the Fredericton Arts Alliance. Currently, Rogers chairs the Union of New Brunswick Municipalities, Urban Municipality Caucus, sits on the University of New Brunswick Board of Governors, and is a director on the Capital Region Service Commission and the Federal of Canadian Municipalities. A lifelong resident of Fredericton, which we were debating how long earlier this evening, Kate Rogers and her husband, Mike Wolf, have lived downtown Fredericton for at least 25 years, maybe slightly more, along with their 2 amazing daughters, Eliza and Iris. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Her Worship, Mayor Kate Rogers, to the podium for the State of the City Address.
Good evening, everyone. Bonsoir, tout le monde, quoi. Thank you, John, for a wonderful introduction, and thank you to Hotspot for your ongoing support of this event. Thank you, as always, to Jenny Paul. I don't know if Jenny is still here, but thank you for your wonderful rendition of O Canada. This is my 5th State of the City address, and it is the final one of this council's term. As such, I thought I would use the opportunity to talk about what is happening in Fredericton, what's been going on in recent years, and to look back and see how this City Council, with the support of our staff, has responded to Fredericton's rapid growth with some bold decisions and innovative solutions made possible by strong, respectful relationships and collaboration. I am joined this evening by my City Council colleagues, Deputy Mayor Jocelyn Pike and Councillors Ruth Breen, Kevin Dara, Greg Erickson, Bruce Grandy, Steve Hicks, Cassandra LeBlanc, Jason Lejeune, Eric McGarity, and Margot Shepard. Thank you all so much for being here. All of these councillors worked tirelessly for their wards and for all of Fredericton. The same is true of our Chief Administrative Officer, Steve Hart, and our senior leadership team, and all of the hardworking and dedicated staff at the city. The City of Fredericton employs nearly 800 people who deliver more than 76 essential programs and services. These services include keeping our water flowing, teaching our folks how to swim, and getting people around our city, and so much more. But it takes more than a municipal government to build a city. It takes a community. And Fredericton would not be Fredericton without our local businesses, without our nonprofit organizations, our universities, our service groups, and our people. And as we can see, the community has really come together this evening. At the head table, I'm joined by, you've already been introduced to them all, but I'm going to say their names again because we've had lots of fun here tonight, and some of them are super special to me. But we have with us John from Hotspot, thank you. We have our Chamber CEO, Morgan Peters, our fearless leader and friend of mine. We have our Chamber President, David Milburn, Sagam Polchis and Sarah Rose, on behalf of Sedansics. We're so glad to have you with us here this year. And of course, I have with me my family, who means everything to me, and my husband, Mike Wolf, my mom, Betty Rogers, my mother-in-law, Jackie Wolf, our daughters, Eliza and her partner, Ben, and Iris. And I have with me my big brother, bagpiper extraordinaire, Andy. No, he really is my older brother. But I say their names because I know you heard them before, but some of our counselors have with them this evening, you know, their partners and spouses. Look, it's being a counselor, it feels like a family job sometimes because, for one thing, yes, it's a lot of work, but also, yeah, when you're out at the grocery store, like what John mentioned, I've often got like kids in tow. My girls grew up going to the market and going to the grocery store and going to the mall and walking down the street with me as people stop me and talk to me about city affairs. But I was really fortunate. They never complained. Instead, what happened? They become really engaged citizens of Fredericton, and they love this city like nobody else. So while it is a family affair, it's been, in my family, a very positive experience, and I just thought I would take a second to point it out. I want to thank lots of folks. I want to thank you all for being here. November is a crazy month. There is so much going on. I don't know about you guys. I've been out almost every night of the week for I don't know how many weeks, so I want to thank you all for spending a few hours with us here this evening to talk about our city. I want to thank David Miles, the MP for Fredericton Oromocto, for being with us here this evening. Thank you, David. I want to say a special thanks to Minister of Social Development, Cindy Miles, also who represents Hamwell, New Maryland. I want to thank David Kuhn, the leader of New Brunswick Green Party and MLA for Fredericton Lincoln. Mayor David Duplessis, I haven't had a chance to say hi to Mayor David, but thank you for being here from the Central York Rural Community, also Vice Chair of the Capital Region Service Commission, and thanks Alex Schulten from the Village of New Maryland for being with us here this evening, and recent YMCA Peace Medallion winner, very much deserved. I had a friend and a mentor, former councillor and deputy mayor of Fredericton, Brenda Sampson, once say to me, it's really important that people hear their names. So I like to say people's names. And I want to say this name too, because he's a very special individual in our city. I'd like to extend a special thank you to Bud Bird for being with us here this evening. Bud is a former mayor, a former MLA, and a former MP, Member of Parliament. He certainly understands the demands of political service. But nevertheless, he continues to show up and to serve through his volunteerism and philanthropy. So thank you, Bud, for being with us here this evening. A heartfelt thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for organizing this annual event. How special is it that we just come together and talk about our city and what wonderful things we've heard, things that Jennifer said, things that John shared, this shared love that we have of our city. I think it's wonderful that we take this opportunity to honor our city. So thank you, Chamber, for providing that opportunity. Your organization does so much. You have got to be like the busiest. If there's a trophy for the busiest chamber, it's got to go to the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce. But your organization strengthens our community. Your work is vital to our shared success. I also want to thank, the thank yous just are never going to end, but I want to thank the downtown, I want to thank their BIAs, our business improvement areas, downtown Fredericton, Business Fredericton North, your partnership this past year in particular, as we've really confronted a lot of stuff together, has been very much appreciated and valued. I also want to thank Ignite for being here this evening. I had a lovely chat with Sarah. Wherever Sarah is, she was flitting around the room. Sarah, thank you. Thank you also to the Fredericton Airport, who's here. The Fredericton Airport is critically important to keeping our business community growing and keeping our residents connected. So thank you all. Now I know also that everyone in this room has a shared goal. We all want to lead our best lives in this city that we call home. And those of us in this room play a critical role in making that possible. 4.5 years ago, our city elected a new council with 5 new councillors and a new mayor, me. This new council combined fresh perspectives with the experience and knowledge of returning councillors. For this council, change has been a constant. And I am proud that we have navigated this change with grace, tenacity, and limited drama. And I say that as a former thespian. I am proud that we haven't had too much drama. I have been on councils where there has been drama, and it takes up a lot of time. It wastes a lot of time that could be spent just doing good stuff. So I am proud of how we have navigated the change that can be hard. But we all know the adage, a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. And since 2021, there have been some rough waters. Fredericton has dealt with the aftermath of COVID, record high inflation, and population growth. These once-in-a-generation shifts shook the whole country and shook our city. Next came local governance reform in 2023. And for those of you who are not municipal government followers, that might not mean much. I can tell you, it was a lot. It expanded our boundaries of our already rapidly growing city, and it changed the ways that we engage and work with our neighboring communities. One thing that was clear in this sea of change was that status quo was not an option, and that thoughtful, decisive leadership was needed to steer our way through. Preparing for this state of the city has given me a chance to pause and to reflect on our ability to tackle the challenges we faced by embracing the opportunities within. After the last election, our new council gathered to craft a shared vision of our city. Guided by a strong belief that we could dream bigger, bring more people to the table, and work with purpose to deliver better results for the people of Fredericton, we came up with this vision. An inspirational, growing city with a sense of community and culture, promoting thoughtful urban development, active living, and a social environment and fiscal conscience. This vision has served as the foundation for all of our conversations and decisions. A guiding force when confronted with tough decisions, this vision gave flexibility and confidence to adapt to the shifting tides and changing times. A vision is nothing without a plan, and the city of Fredericton loves its plans. We love plans. We have a lot of engineers, and I think that's one of the reasons, and I don't say that as a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. It's a very good thing. I'm married to one. A vision is nothing without a plan. So our decisions have been guided by many plans and strategies, including the long-term financial plan, our rolling 5-year capital plan, our asset management plan, our municipal plan, and our growth strategy. Growth has been the topic for years now. We've known for some time that Fredericton would be welcoming more people. In fact, we wanted and needed the city to grow. This keeps our economy rolling, it gives young people a reason to stay, and it makes possible the amenities that improve our quality of life. The municipal plan adopted in 2020 predicted that Fredericton would grow by 1,000 people per year. Instead, Fredericton has routinely welcomed 2,000 to 3,000 new residents every year since 2021. We did not imagine growth like this. Our population is now closing in on 80,000 people. That's up from 58,000 people a decade ago. That is an increase of nearly 35% in 10 years. That level of growth is unheard of in these parts of the country, and as municipal leaders, we responded to this growth with some courageous decision-making, all the while leaning on our plans, working with our partners, and listening to residents. What we heard from our residents and what we know ourselves to be true is that life is more expensive. So as we deliver city services that work for everyone, affordability has to be top of mind. This has led to lengthy and necessary conversations as Council deliberates its annual budgets, trying to figure out how we can use our budget process to make life more affordable for everyone in Fredericton. Housing, food, heat, lights, everything costs more. We are all feeling the pressure. As a council, we wanted to understand how the municipality contributes to this cost burden for our residents. So, in good Fredericton style, we commissioned a study to provide us with the data to inform our thinking. Through the study, we learned that in Fredericton, the average household property tax represents 13% of your overall tax burden, and an average of 3.9% of your average household expenses. So with this in mind, we looked at how we could best use the tools at our disposal to make life more affordable for residents. In New Brunswick, 84% of municipal revenues come from property taxes. That puts a lot of pressure on property owners because it means that property taxpayers are responsible for covering 84% of municipal services, such as roads, police and fire service, recreation, garbage collection, transit, and so much more. It is not like that in every province. Many provinces have already modernized how they share revenues with municipalities. In Nova Scotia, only 63% of municipal revenues come from property taxes. In Ontario, only 42%. That's why our friends in Ontario have lower tax bills, because their municipalities have modernized revenue sharing agreements with their provinces. Good news is that New Brunswick is currently going through a fiscal reform process. Fredericton and many other municipalities are at the table, and we're hopeful for the outcome. Until then, it's just a lot of pressure to put on the property taxpayer. City Council is very aware and is looking for ways to find equity in the system so that we can optimize the taxpayer dollar to deliver affordable programming and services. Our response to the affordability challenges that our residents, and frankly that all of us are experiencing, manifests in our annual budget. And while we have lowered the property tax rate over the past 4 budgets by 12% for almost 9 in 10 households, and have limited water and sewer increases to a modest level, people in our community are still feeling the pinch from all sides, and we know that. This year, the Government of New Brunswick introduced a freeze on property tax assessments, which has provided a sense of relief for those of us who own properties. City Council has yet to finalize our budget, but in principle, we've made the decision to hold on the property tax rate, maintain the 2025 inside rate, and continue with pre-planned increases for the outside rate. This decision offers some predictability as the province works through property tax reform. However, it has stressed municipalities. Our response has been to really closely scrutinize and rationalize every line of the 2026 budget to ensure that we can deliver the services that our residents expect while preparing for the future. During this time of fiscal uncertainty, the City Council has invested in areas that help people afford their day-to-day lives. The decision to expand Fredericton Transit to operate 7 days a week with half-hour service was made to help individuals and families get around our city without the expense of a car. Bus ridership has grown by approximately 20% and is increasing monthly. In 2024, the total number of passenger trips on Fredericton Transit was 1.7 million, and we expect that number to be much higher by year end. Fredericton Public Transit has truly been a case of if you build it, they will come. More free recreation and leisure programming help people exercise and be entertained without additional cost. Free swim lessons for children, free skate rentals for everyone are a big help too. In these ways, we are investing to make our city more affordable for its residents. We know access to safe places where people can afford to live is a challenge for many, including families, seniors, and young people. The irony of that is that Fredericton has record-breaking residential development. You can see the buildings going up all over the place, but it's still not enough to meet the demand. At the start of this term, Fredericton City Council decided to become more engaged in housing to enable the creation of more affordable housing in our city. In 2022, the city adopted its affordable housing strategy, informed by the 2021 Housing Needs Assessment, which we updated just again earlier this year. We know that none of what any of us aspire for our city matters if the people in our community can't find safe, affordable housing. It's the truth. What is the point? What is the point of doing all of this if people can't find safe, affordable houses to lay their heads every night? So I mentioned the city's had record-breaking development. Building permit activity for the first half of 2025 indicates that the number of new housing starts has soared to a record high with 682 housing starts. That's well above. I know that you're like, what does that mean, 682 housing starts? I will tell you, it's well above the 5-year annual average. Fredericton is third in the country for dwellings completed proportional to population growth. This is all thanks to our development community, those of you who are in the room who are part of that community, both for-profit and not-for-profit. Thank you. Thank you. The city has carved out its own role in housing, and we've become a key player in making projects work, projects possible in Fredericton. One great example, it's one that we're really proud of, is in the New Cuffman Street area. It's right around the New Cuffman Elementary School. This was a team effort, and it really paid off. The province bought the land for the school and sold what it didn't need to the city. We knew that Cuffman Elementary School would be an anchor for a neighborhood, because that's what schools are. They're anchors in neighborhoods. And boy, has that school ever been an anchor. It is an amazing community school. We used the surplus land and we made it available for affordable housing. With the help of the nonprofit sector, including Fredericton Nonprofit Housing Corporation, Habitat for Humanity, and Skidgenelnook, there's now affordable housing located by a school, along a bus route, close to retail, and places where people work. Another example, one that I'm really proud of because I've been wanting cooperative housing in this city for like ever. The city sold land at a very reasonable price to the newly formed New Brunswick Collaborative Housing Cooperative to build their first project ever, right here in Fredericton. The land is located on Brown Boulevard, and it will be the future site of 97 mixed-income cooperative housing units. Thank you. I can't tell you. Ever since I've been on council, everyone's like, we need more cooperative housing in this city. And the reason for that is because if you live in cooperative housing, you help control the cost of your housing. You have control, you have say. And it's really important in these precarious housing times that be the case. And people wanted more. But it took some effort to make that happen. But now it's happening. 97 mixed income units. On top of these efforts, in January 2024, the city received $10.4 million from the Federal Housing Accelerator Fund, which supported the creation of 286 affordable housing units across the city. We talk a lot about the Housing Accelerator Fund. There's a little humble brag there. Not every city in the country got money from the Housing Accelerator Fund. We had an awesome application, so we got the funding and we've put it to good use. We've made it available in the community to generate more housing. One of the unique Fredericton-born solutions is a grant to support the construction of modular housing. New Brunswick is a center of excellence for innovation in modular housing. As many in the room know, modular housing is a great way to build houses quickly at scale. New Brunswick is a leader in the modular housing industry, and Fredericton is at the front of the pack with Maple Leaf Homes. We have here with us this evening Erica and Bill Jones. We have Maple Leaf Homes and the University of New Brunswick's Off-Site Construction Research Center. Together, we are showing the country how it's done, using our expertise as being Atlantic Canada's knowledge capital, using our smarts to advance housing construction. The rapid growth we're seeing is changing the way our city looks and feels, and change is hard. Some fear that Fredericton is going to grow and change so much that it might no longer feel the same. Council is sensitive to these issues. I am sensitive to these issues. As I say, I'm born and bred Fredericton. I love the growth, I love the change, but boy, I want it to feel the same. So I'm sensitive to those issues. So our response is that we're creating plans that guide responsible growth. The policies adopted by Council are enabling densification in parts of our city where it makes most sense. The bulk of the development is happening in city-identified, designated growth areas, promoting complete neighborhoods with schools and parks and active transportation and nearby services. With development pressures mounting, the city recently adopted the new South Core Secondary Municipal Plan, which places emphasis on thoughtful infill development along major streets in the downtown and the creation of new midtown with shops and restaurants, commercial activity, and housing. We are also working on the Southeast Secondary Municipal Plan that outlines the creation of a new neighborhood on Doak Road. And what an opportunity that is. We get to create a new neighborhood. And over the next 2 decades, this neighborhood is expected to accommodate between 5,000 to 7,000 residents. We must keep this momentum going as our updated housing needs assessment underscores the dire need for housing, informing us that 13,395 more housing units are needed in the next 10 years. So we need close to 14,000, or let's say 13,000 more housing units in the next decade. It's critical these numbers are top of mind when pursuing our housing goals. But it's also important that we not lose sight of the fact that housing is more than a unit count. In Canada, housing is a human right. Very sadly, now, more than ever, we are seeing housing become a commodity and a privilege, and that is unacceptable. While we know that housing is a human necessity, not everyone in our city has housing. Increasingly, we are seeing people in Fredericton priced out of the rental and the ownership market. Right now, there are 2,287 people on the province's wait list for subsidized housing in Fredericton. There are 300, give or take, and it's a little over 300 people currently experiencing some form of homelessness in our city. Many of these folks are in need of housing with wraparound supports, a type of housing that is in very short supply in New Brunswick. And as such, this is now a reality in our city. We have unhoused people living in our streets, by our trails, and in our parks. Many of these people are unwell. They're struggling with mental illness and substance use disorders. These societal challenges are confronting cities across our country, big and small, and they create real upheaval that impacts the social fabric of our community and results in people feeling unsafe. Knowing that there are people in Fredericton who feel unsafe, it's actually the number one thing that keeps me up at night. And I got a lot of things that could keep me up at night. But knowing that the people that I love, that my neighbors, the people I work with, that they feel unsafe, that there are people who I know who have been in the service industry, who maybe now no longer own a home. I mean, when you think of the folks who are unhoused and who they might be and whose children they might be and how they're feeling unsafe and how this upheaval in our society is creating others to feel unsafe, knowing all of that and knowing that policing is a municipal responsibility. Also knowing that policing is not going to resolve many of the issues that we are facing. Municipalities don't have all the tools and levers necessary to get to the root causes of what's happening on our streets. And I hope by now that we have all come to understand that we cannot police our way out of social problems. Nevertheless, as leaders, we also can't just pass the buck and say it's not our job. And that's why we stepped up. That's why the City of Fredericton stepped up with creative solutions like the Community Safety Services Unit and the Community Engagement Unit. That is why we established the Atlantic Police Academy to train more officers. These are all new ideas for Atlantic Canada. The model for our Community Safety Services Unit, it came from a mayor from a city in British Columbia that I was sitting and having lunch with at a Federation of Canadian Municipalities conference. We were sitting together, and he was telling me what he was doing in his community, and I was like, I think that might work in Fredericton. And we brought the idea home. The CEU, the Community Engagement Unit, the Atlantic Police Academy, they're homegrown ideas. They came from our own Fredericton police force. Another way that we have addressed the challenges that we are experiencing was through the creation of the Mayor's Community Safety Task Force that I co-chaired with Fredericton Police Force Chief Gary Forward, who's been a valued colleague in this work, and I'd like to say a special thank you for that. Yes. I don't know in every community if mayors and their police chiefs get along, but here it's all good. It is all good. Lots of respect and collegiality and a shared, sort of the shared spirit of getting stuff done. We created the task force knowing that we needed to include others. So we included other levels of government, service providers, business leaders, residents. Together, this community task force came up with 47 recommendations to enhance safety for everyone in our city. We assigned owners to each of the recommendations. We created a tracking tool to monitor progress and established a public accountability framework through our Public Safety Committee open meetings. Of these 47 recommendations made by the Community Safety Task Force, the city owns 16, including investing in frontline policing, expanding the Community Safety Services Unit, and reinvigorating the Neighborhood Watch program so that folks feel safer in our neighborhoods. We brought provincial leaders to the table to address gaps in housing, poverty, mental health, and addiction services. And I want to recognize the work of our provincial partners. Minister Miles sat on that task force with us. I want to recognize the work that they're doing to address these challenges. There is a lot of heavy lifting required by the province, and they are well aware. We're seeing some of that heavy lifting unfold right now with the transitional housing project being planned for Forest Hill Road. It's a new typology for Fredericton, and people, rightfully so, want a better understanding of what to expect. I'm confident that the province and the project developer will work with the local community to address concerns. Providing housing with wraparound services was an important recommendation of the Community Safety Task Force, and this project will bring 24 people into shelter this winter. Our safety efforts, they go beyond policing and addressing complex needs. You might have noticed all the roundabouts and speed cushions as you're driving around Fredericton. These have significantly lowered accident and injury rates in the city, making it safer for our residents. You've probably also noticed lighting on trails. As we lean into our efforts to make it more affordable to get around our city, we are consistently enhancing our trail network. Lighting is yet a further enhancement so that folks can feel safer using the trails into the evening. And I have people tell me, say, you know what? I didn't have to take a cab. I usually spend $20 on a cab. I didn't have to take a cab because I felt safe walking home along the trails. To which I'm like, okay, it's working. It's working. What we intended is having results. City Hall is taking on the work of leading through change for the benefit of our residents and for this city that we love. We are driving meaningful transformation, and as we do this work, it is critical that we have regular touch points with our residents. To build community, we must stay connected. And throughout this term on council, we have really amplified our communication efforts. I want everybody to know what's going on. We've enhanced through increased social media channels and through City Connects, our quarterly newsletter. It's delivered to your door, so I hope you've all had a chance to check it out and take a look. We've enhanced Engage Fredericton and held more public engagement sessions and open houses than ever. Many of the city's guiding plans were informed by extensive community engagement, including the Recreation and Leisure Master Plan, the Parks Plans, the Urban Forest Strategy, the South Core Secondary Plan, and now the Southeast Secondary Plan. In all these instances, we've talked to our residents to find out what you want. In fact, the city of Fredericton does very little now. We do very little now without talking to our residents. It's like it's become part of our DNA, and it's very helpful to our efforts because the input we receive helps us build services that reflect our changing city. It's why we now have a cricket pitch and a thriving league. It's why we now have mountain biking trails and disc golf courses at Clarny Lake Park, better river access for paddling, accessible equipment in parks, and so much more. It's because you all told us you thought it was important, so we've made it happen. The success of our newly revitalized Officer Square, how great is that? Look, I'll pat myself on the back if nobody else will. Officer Square is awesome. And the success of Officer Square with free programming several nights of the week and on weekends is another example of us listening to our residents who've been clear they want more vibrancy in public spaces. We've expanded the Garrison Night Market. It's the biggest of its kind east of British Columbia. We've expanded into Officer Square to include more vendors and to bring more people into our downtown every Thursday night throughout the summer. You can barely get into our downtown on a Thursday night in the summer. I can barely leave, not that I ever want to leave our downtown, but it's hard for me to walk home after work on a Thursday. It is jam-packed with people of all ages, people of all backgrounds, people having fun, people enjoying our city. It's magic. It feels like magic. We're building community through public spaces and connecting people through increased active amenities like our trail system that now runs through our city. We have finally completed the Crosstown Trail. We are advancing plans for a downtown cycle track, and we continue to find ways to make our parks places for our residents to gather and to be social. It's interesting, while healthcare falls under the provincial mandate, we know that only 10% of healthcare is actually governed by institutional health services, like by hospitals and doctors' clinics. It's actually the social determinants of health that have a much greater impact. And so much of what the city is delivering through its varied programming helps keep our residents healthy. Now, not to fear, we will remain ever persistent in our advocacy efforts to recruit more healthcare providers to Fredericton, because the need is extreme, and frankly, it's terribly unfair. We're much poorer served than the rest of this province. It's unfair, it's an injustice, and we should all be up in arms. So we're going to continue that work to lobby for more physicians. But in the meantime, while we do that work in collaboration with other organizations like the Chamber and others in this room, advocating hard for more healthcare providers, we are able to do it, and we're able to do this work thanks to collaboration and partnerships. You know, when you take on heavy work, you don't want to do it with a stranger. You want to do it with someone you can trust. And we've cultivated these types of partnerships in our community and beyond. We certainly can't do what we've been up to alone. So much of our work depends on how well we work with others. And this council has been committed to fostering positive working relationships. Success comes from authentic partnerships where we communicate respectfully even when we disagree. Productive working relationships reap reward. Just look at the funding that's come to our city for important projects. This is what solid relationships with our colleagues in the provincial and federal governments can bring about. In the past 4 years, we have secured close to $80 million from other orders of government. That money does not just land on our doorstep. It comes from detailed plans, fine-tuned applications, and lots of conversations amongst staff and between politicians. We've used some of that money to build the new Performing Arts Centre, and in the future, I'm certain provincial and federal funds will be accessed as community partners come together to build more aquatics infrastructure in our city. Our much improved understanding and relationships with Indigenous peoples is something of which I am personally and particularly very proud. Our council, staff, and the citizens of Fredericton are honoring the treaties and forming a genuine, mutually respectful partnership with St. Mary's First Nation. And I hope that you feel it in the room tonight. I hope that you feel it when Sagam is up here speaking about the work that we're doing together, and also when I am speaking of the work that we're doing together. It is born from an authentic friendship that comes from respect. The real work we do serves to benefit the residents of Sedunksix and Fredericton. And I'll build on what Sagam Polcha shared earlier about the trunk line. That trunk line, 1949. 1949 was when that sanitary sewer trunk was built. And you know what? It is a key part of Fredericton's infrastructure. So a key part of our water and sewer infrastructure was dated back, and we were using it not too long ago, 1949. It has been upgraded now with the valued collaboration and support of Sedunksix community. The upgraded larger pipe will provide more reliable service to meet the needs of the city's growing north side and Sedunksix for many years. This project was interesting, I think, for everyone who participated. I mean, interesting in so many ways, too many to talk about tonight. But once we came together and made this agreement to move forward, the way that we proceeded, there was an archaeological monitor and an elder from Sedunksix present to ensure the work was completed respectfully and safely, honoring the area's cultural significance. Chiwiliwin, to Sedunksix Sagam, and to your council and to your community for your collaboration and support throughout this project. Yeah. So I think you can tell, I hope you can tell from what I've shared this evening, that we've done a lot over the 4.5 years. It's felt like a bit of a whirlwind, all that we have done for the residents of Fredericton and for our city. But you know, the work doesn't stop. The work is continuing as we speak. We continue to rise to the challenges of growth. We are finding ways to make life more affordable for our residents. We are getting more homes built. We are tackling community safety. And through collaboration and partnership, we're seizing opportunities to cultivate a vibrant city. I feel as though these past 4 years and all that we've done, we're also paving the runway. And as I look ahead, I continue to see so much potential for Fredericton. We are positioned for prosperity with all the building blocks in place. The relationships we've built, the plans that we have created together. You know, many of us in this room took part in Vision 2030, Ignite's Regional Economic Development Strategy and Action Plan. That plan excites me more today, in particular, than ever. Some of its 4 focus areas align so closely with the goals of our new federal government. It's exciting because it's demonstrating real opportunity to advance our city. Our status as the knowledge capital and home to 70% of the province's innovation businesses puts us in good standing to capitalize on emerging industries and economies reliant on the intelligence that exists right here in our hometown. We are needed. We have something to offer, and we're going to be delivering it and providing it for the benefit of us all. So to everyone I say, while we may be living in uncertain times, our future is bright. By working together, embracing possibility, leading through change, and shining a light on all that we have to offer as a city and as a community, I know that Fredericton will prosper and be a place where everyone can lead their best lives. Thank you. It has been a pleasure being your mayor. Merci. Really.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dave Milburn, the current president of the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce and owner-operator of Focal Point Landscape Design and Installation. First, I'd like to thank Dave Lawrence. Great job. As MC this evening, you did a great job as always. And of course, a special thank you to Mayor Rogers for delivering this year's 2025 State of the City Address. Mayor Rogers, I agree. Fredericton has much to be proud of and a bright future ahead. Challenges related to growth and this era of uncertainty remain. But what matters is that we're facing them together in collaboration. I'm certain you would agree that there's a reciprocal relationship between a healthy business sector and a strong community. Please know that you will continue to have an active and engaged partner in the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce. Collaboration is at the heart of our work. We're committed to breaking down silos and aligning the strength across our community to build a more resilient, inclusive future. Our vision is clear: an innovative, productive community where all can prosper, and we live it every day through our mission, being the voice of business, connecting people, and providing crucial supports to our members. Business success fuels community well-being, and our advocacy reflects that. As a token of our appreciation, we are making a donation in your name to the Muriel McQueen Ferguson Foundation. Once again, I would like to thank all of our sponsors. We could not do this event without your support. Our platinum sponsor, Hotspot. Our gold sponsors, Encore and J. Donovan Law Group. Our silver sponsors, Fredericton International Airport, Gauguin Architecture, and Ignite. Bronze sponsors Covey Basics, Downtown Fredericton Inc., and Liberty Utilities. Our design sponsor, Kears Marketing. Photography sponsor, AAA Photography. A special thanks to Junior Achievement New Brunswick for running the coat check this evening, and of course the Fredericton Convention Centre staff for hosting us this evening. Once again, thank you to each and every one of you for attending this evening. Good night and be safe.